Welcome to the channel. I'm going to have some links down below in the description box, as always, to credit where I'm getting my information from. This time, our first article does not come from IGN. It comes from Games Radar, and it talks about how The Witcher 4 is now in full production mode, and how long it takes CD Projekt Red, on average, from the moment they conceptualize an idea for a game to having it fully produced and out on our console or PC to being able to play the game. And that takes about 5 to 6 years. So when they were asked in an interview, well, when did you first start thinking about The Witcher 4? They were like, I don't think so, because, right, it would give us an idea roughly of when the game would come out, and they don't want to do that. So it says right here, it has entered, codename Polaris, Witcher 4, has entered full production following its pre-production phase, which focuses on conceptualizing the scope and building up resources for the project. However, when asked during the call when Polaris in particular started its conceptualizing phase, Nowakowski sidestepped from providing an answer and stated, I'm not going to answer that question, obviously, because that would be leading to pointing out a date, which I do not want to do. But thank you, that was a very clever way of asking the question. After being out for 8 years, No Man's Sky developers Hello Games hails very positive Steam rating 8 years after its overwhelmingly negative launch. And he says, or she says, or whatever, you have no idea what this means to us. Well, you have no idea what it means to us gamers when it takes 8 years for your shit to finally not be so stinky. That's just me trying to be funny. Listen, they could have given up on the game. There's a lot of developers that have games that have promised us a certain level of quality. We don't get it, but in the end, we end up getting it. Cyberpunk 2077 in recent history. Speaking of Witcher 4, Witcher 3 was a bag of shit when it first came out. It was not that great of a game at all. Now it is. Took a long time, but as the expression goes, better late than never. At least you eventually get your money's worth. So that I wanted to share with you. And in closing, a little bit of sad news. This is Caleb McAlpine, who is a huge Borderlands fan of the entire franchise. And he is terminally ill with stage 4 cancer. So he went on Reddit saying, hey, what do you think are my chances with me only having 7 to 12 months to live that I could potentially play Borderlands 4 early? So Gearbox Studios flew him and a friend first class down to their studio and got him to play the game early. That's amazing. And the take from this is that he had a lot of fun. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, and this also puts into perspective sometimes, you know, when I complain about my personal life issues that I suffer from, and it's all about perspective. Like, I could complain and say I have this, that, and the other thing, which I do, and be like, wow, this feels like the end of the world, when, no offense, there are people that are younger than me that are literally facing that end of the world. And it kind of just makes you a little bit more grateful and not complain as much, because, as the other expression goes, sure, it could be a lot better, but it could also be a lot worse. Right? So he's hoping that naturally he's going to be around just long enough to be able to get to see Borderlands 4 in its full release. And that's all I have for you today. As always, like I said, I love sometimes just grabbing some random pieces of gaming news and short forming them so that you don't have to, like, read. Like, I mean, some of these articles are, like, really long, and there's just no need for all that bullshit. Sometimes it'll even tell you the average reading speed of what it'll take to read an article, and sometimes it's like 15 minutes it would take you to read 3 pieces of gaming news. Meanwhile, in a third of that time, I get to cover all the news, and I still get to rant for a little bit about absolutely nothing. So, thumbs up as always if you liked the video. It does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm and trying to make me a little bit more relevant in the search results when people are looking shit up on the internet. More specifically, YouTube. And if you didn't like the video, that's fine. Go ahead, give it a thumbs down. I'll bend it in half, twist it. I'll break it off in your hand. And yeah, I can't make a joke about this because you know what would happen there, right? This ain't the 90s. I'd end up getting canceled. Yeah. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, naturally that would be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. Maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. And by the way, even if I did have something that was terminal, honestly, I would want people to get a good laugh, because in a world that we live in, that can be oftentimes very, very dark and sadistic and twisted and not fun. From my own personal situations that I've gone through, that could be quite dark. I always try to find a little bit of light in every situation. And if there is none, I'll make it funny. Always got to do that. It's just my way of dealing with stuff. So take care, and perhaps I shall see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.